college, some friends used to call me like Charlie's, more like Charlie.
Okay, cool,
So it's kind
cool,
of because of that.
cool.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like WrdHom too, right? Like
Yeah,
you don't know you don't know how to pronounce that.
yeah. I'm glad wordhum is how I've been saying it. So am I saying it correctly? Is that right?
Yeah, and yeah,
Okay, nice.
it's like a Proto-Indo-European word
Mm.
that it's literally the word for word.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Home
and
forwards. Yeah, that's a nice one.
yeah,
Yeah, I like it.
I also like that it kind of sounds like the house, like the home of the word or of the
Yeah,
word,
yeah.
Mhm.
kind of like that.
Cool.
But I mean, I don't know if that will be the final name. It's just for
Fair.
uh,
Some linguistic recursion just for the purists.
yeah. Actually, hey, that's another good reason for that name, given that it's on built on top of Mina.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Let's get to the
Yeah,
order of business. So
yeah.
thank
Let
thank you all
me
for joining.
let me share my
Yeah,
screen.
yeah. Please get your screen out while I do a, a delayed introduction. For our audience. So thank you all for joining. Today we have Charlie's, who's going to be presenting WordHome as part of the Navigator's proposal, and this is the final milestone presentation. So Charlie's,
All right. Can you see my screen and everything?
yeah, it's infinite mirroring if that's what you're
Yeah,
showing. Yeah, all right, yeah,
recursion
there we go. Yeah,
is what's cool today. So okay, I'll just give a quick introduction. I'll try to be fast with this, just to refresh the memory of everyone. So let me. Okay. So, all right, the project is an auditable social media platform, but and auditability is at the core of the project. Is what makes it distinct and unique from any other project of decentralized social media. But there are also some other objectives that I would like to keep in mind because they are also very important, and those has that solving those issues that users don't know why they see the content, why they see the content they see. So that's at the core of auditability, tries to solve that issue. So that's kind of the main unique feature of this project, trying to make that use guarantee to users that the algorithm that arranged content for their feeds is following certain rules, and let the users customize this algorithm. So they always like their preferences are always respected, and the platform is always behaving as they would like. And auditability is also for moderation. We will build an auditable moderation system, so there's no like any shenanigans of shadow banning and censorship, arbitrary censorship, and rules that are changing all the time, and no one knows really what the rules are. So we want a credible neutral platform, and auditability is at the core of this. And so this we with this we want to increase the agency for users, and also another issue is that users don't really own their accounts, and there are some other social media platforms that are trying to solve this in a similar way of WordHom by uh, making the identity of the users their wallet or their private keys. So attaching the identity to a public address, right? So that's what is like very common in Noster, Farcaster, and at some extent even in Blue Sky. But principally that's similar to Farcaster and Noster. Um, so that's one of the things that this project shares with those. And the other things is that we are trying to build more protocol than well, we try that the platform behaves more like a protocol, so it's stable, and on top of this stability and openness, people can build other things and plug in maybe some other apps or whatever, so it becomes more composable. And this goes hand in hand with having an open and reliable API, right? Because for example, what happened with X recently, that the API is changing all the time. When the new acquisition happened, the prices and the kind of the functionality also changed, and it broke a lot of apps that were built on top of the old API. So we are trying to avoid these kind of issues by creating a platform that behaves more like a protocol. Uh, and so these in general are the issues that we are trying to solve. And I mean, some people will say that maybe we could try to solve some of these issues in Web2 by, for example, passing the legislation for like forcing these platforms to produce or some kind of transparency, but that is very difficult and very slow, and trying to be auditing these platforms all the time, like making sure that the algorithm, that the code that they publish is the code running on their servers, is like almost an impossible task, because it's just those platforms are simply not built for transparency and auditability. And but we can solve those issues with cryptography and blockchain, um, and that's kind of what we are trying to do here. And also we are trying to build a platform that is that guarantees long-term availability, by keeping the root state of the platform in Mina, which is a resilient blockchain and a decentralized blockchain, and the rest of the off-chain data for the platform on decentralized storage. So the platform can really be shut down and users never lose access to their accounts and to their social graph and everything that they have on the platform. And also, well, we are trying to, as I mentioned earlier, create a more open and reliable APIs. And this is by basically, well, this is a general diagram of how the platform behaves. And basically the idea is users sign their actions. This is what is similar to Noster and Farcaster. But when the platform starts to differ from these other platforms, is that each user action goes first through some CK programs and contracts that will that guarantee that the state of the platform can only be updated by following established rules. So the other platforms like Noster and Farcaster, they only secure that the messages are signed by the user, right? So in these platforms, you can guarantee that some message was signed by the person that it so authentication is basically done through signatures of the users. So that's cool because that way you can share the content between different nodes, and everyone can collect the content, and then you can serve that content to anyone that joins your hub, and people can be sure that you aren't like uh, tampering content, or or like impersonating users, etc. But basically, that's all the guarantees that these platforms offer. Like these platforms also can censor. You don't know which code is running in their servers, because they don't you don't have a way to really audit that, uh, and so they can equally shadow ban people, boost some content for their friends, or for some narratives, some propaganda, etc. So they share the exact same problems that Web2 platforms have. So we are trying to solve that issue, and this so we process the users of actions, the actions of the users, and with these CK programs and contracts on the Mina blockchain, we can, for example, timestamp and order all the messages, and by this kind of simple that they can appear like some simple rules, but that you guarantee that you order post, etc. You can start guaranteeing that, for example, you don't skip post when you are serving the post, that there are no gaps when some user request a set of posts, that the engagement of each post and the scores of each post, that the algorithm takes into account to build your feed, are really following the established rules in the CK programs and in the contracts. Also, as I mentioned before, we are planning to store the off-chain data in decentralized storage platforms. And one idea was use IPFS, well, Filecoin more specifically. But recently, O1JS, O1 Labs announced this new project, Project Untitled, that looks really cool and like a far better option than IPFS. So we'll probably be using that. That looks like a really cool project. So when the server responds to your client, it will serve you this off-chain content, and you can also check the current state of the contracts in Mina, and the server will serve you the content and some witnesses, some Merkle map witnesses that your client will use to make sure that all these rules that I mentioned are being followed. So that's basically the idea. This is what I already mentioned. So this is a basic flow. Like, for example, we receive 4 posts. These 4 posts go through the CK program that enforces certain rules, and we generate 4 proofs, one for each of these posts. And we also use the CK programs to merge these 4 proofs into a single proof that then we can use to update the state on the blockchain with a single proof in a single transaction. So being far more efficient, and we generate these proofs in parallel. So in theory, we can scale to many actions, process those actions in parallel, and achieve high throughput for the social media platform using this architecture.
Charlie, sorry, I had a question. Could you please give some examples of the rules which are enforced by the ZK program?
Yeah, sure. For example, this I think this will help a little.
All right.
For example, this is a Merkle map that where we represent the state of each post, right? So we have a global ordering in this case that we have the first row is a global ordering that literally is the count assigns a number to each post according to how we order those posts in a global ordering. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for these 4 posts. But we also have an ordering for by user. So here we see that post 1 is the first post of one user. That post 2 is also the first post of an user, but post 3 is counted as the second post for a particular user. So we have global ordering, and also we have more local ordering, like for the publication, the order of publication by that user itself. And we also have timestamping, that this timestamping is also secured by the block height or the block length at which these proofs are processed in the when we submit the final transaction to update the on-chain state on Mina. So here we have those. We also have timestamping for deletion of deletion of posts or restoration of those posts that we deleted. So we can, for example, when serving, imagine this example is the easiest, I think. The chronological feed or the chronological timeline is the easiest feed of all, right? So we are focusing first on this, but we can build far more complex feeds than that, just with these simple rules. Because, for example, say there are, I don't know, 1,000 posts in the platform at the beginning, and you log in, and your client will retrieve the last I don't know, the last 10 posts or the last 100 posts, so you can watch the latest posts from the people for if the last 100 posts, global posts, you can request the last 100 global posts if you want to see like the general timeline, not only from the people you follow, but the general, or you can see the last 100 posts from the people you follow. And for example, when you receive these 100 posts to your client, you will receive this post with their witnesses, so you can be certain that each of those posts are the data and information you are seeing, the metadata you are seeing, your client is seeing by this post is actually the correct order for everyone, and the correct timestamping of each action. So there's no way that since for example I'm operating the server, some user requests the last 100 posts, and I for example if I was a Web2 social media platform, I could shadow ban some users and skip, instead of serving the last 100 posts, I could serve the last 101 posts, minus some posts that I'm like popping from the or removing from the 100 posts. So kind of I skip one post and I give you 100 posts, but I'm skipping one post that I want to shadow ban from some user, for example. That's like, I think, the easiest example of the kind of things you can avoid. Some other more complex feeds that are not only chronological could take into account, for example, the number of reactions to a post, giving to that post an engagement score. So you can request something like, give me the last from the last 24 hours, or give me the top 10 posts with most the most engagement, and your client is able to audit that you are actually giving the content. You are building a feed that that follows like this behavior that you are expecting, right? I don't know if that's clear.
No, it completely makes sense. Thank you for explaining that.
Okay, if something is not is confusing or anything, please tell me.
Sure.
But okay, so just to understand a little bit more how this works, here we have a user. This user sends a query according to the user. The client sends a query according to the user configuration, and the server responds, and the client receives this auditable response and stores that response. So here we are receiving the content with the witnesses and some metadata that we will be able to evaluate. And for this proposal, the main improvements that we did were that previously we received the response from the server, and we needed immediately to request, check the state of the current state on the Mina blockchain, retrieve that, compare, use that current state immediately to audit the response, and that was it. If the response was valid, nothing happened. If there was something wrong with the response, the client wrote an error message telling us that the server was probably manipulating the content, or it was behaving, it was having some issues. And but that was like very very unfriendly for the use in user experience, because these audits obviously take time, because you are calculating the roots of the witnesses, comparing a lot of data, checking that everything is okay, that the order is okay, that there is not missing, there are not gaps, and whatever you want to audit, you need to do like a lot of operations. So you needed, I will demonstrate right now, but so you needed to wait while it was, every time you were navigating, it was like kind of slow, because every time you were you click something or you made a query, the client will be loading, maybe not for a very long time, but it was kind of annoying. And obviously that will become worse the larger your query was. Like, for example, if you requested the last 10 posts, maybe it's not, you don't have to wait so much. But if you request the last 1,000 posts or the last 100 to audit that, you will be like needed to wait more time. So that was undesirable. So what we did was implement lazy auditability, lazy audits. So you can store the response, and then the idea was to, instead of retrieve the current state on the Mina blockchain, the idea was to get the state of the blockchain at the block length that you received that response from Mina archive node. But the issue with the archive node is that you those the data from the past, the historic data, isn't really provable. So at the end, I extended the contracts that I implemented to implement provable historic state. So now I can get some state at any block length and store that, and I can, at any moment, I can just check the current state of the blockchain. But even if some time has passed, like any time, and I can just check that using the block length and using the current state, I can I can audit like the response at any time. So that's what the main goal of this proposal. So what we receive when we want to evaluate the response is another witness from the server that we can then use. That blue square represents like the current, like a witness that can be used to evaluate any response that you received in the past. But you don't depend on the server. You can also use a Mina node. No, it doesn't need to be an archive node, but you can just, with the current state of the blockchain, the idea is that you can validate your past responses that you received. So then you can see if it was valid or invalid. The idea is that you eventually can you can audit these responses at any time you want, and maybe in the future we can simply validate them in the background, or even outsource this validation. We can do many things. So to demonstrate is that, for example, here we have the old client, and here we asked the last repost and the last post. So we have this. And for example, if we want if we want to make another query, and but we want more than one post. We want 3 this time. Since the social media platform is not updating right now, we will receive the same the same post that was the last post in our previous query, plus 2 more posts. But as you can see, uh, this is kind of slow because you need to wait for this to finish auditing. And um, sorry, what happened here?
Yeah, you got a demo curse.
Again. uh, mm, I think it was. Okay, let me do this really quick. Okay, so this is.
Do you need to connect your wallet or?
Not necessarily. Like I can navigate without connecting the wallet, but I don't know.
Right, any write-up operation you will need that.
It's really a curse because I tested this like I don't know how many times before the presentation, but maybe I did some. No, this is right. Mm. And this one,
This is the newer client, right? Maybe you can just show the newer one.
yeah, this is the old one, but it should be working. Okay, so that, but the issue with this is that I can I couldn't show you the comparison if this doesn't load. Um, okay, let's see if this one actually loads. So if we ask more posts, yeah. So we if you well you can see because the old one is not. I don't know why
Mhm.
it's working, but you will get like this loading. I think it's okay. Like this loading message every time you do a query in the old client because it is auditing the responses. Oh yeah, it's working now. So this obviously isn't the best experience because I mean every time you update or you navigate to a link or anything in the platform, this immediately triggers an audit, and obviously this is slow and not optimal, not a very good experience. So with the new one, we can ask, and immediately we are getting the content and everything we need to do the audit is already in our client. And if you can see, each query is being stored. This is being stored in an index DB in our browser. So this will persist through every session. Like if you come back later, you will still see these queries. And another thing that we implemented was URLs for the queries. So you can share queries, and this to improve the cache of these queries in the search engines and everything, and you can bookmark this, etc. And also now you can go like you can navigate between your store queries. And also, if you, for example, you click this profile, you go to this user profile, and immediately you get another query. For example, what I was saying before, that we have global ordering and local ordering, is that here we have global order. We are seeing like the first post ever in the platform, the second, the third, etc., and the first repost here. So this is global ordering. But when we go to the profile of a user, we see that this is the first post for this user, the second post, and these different kind of countings of different perspectives help to make different kind of audits. For example, also if we go to this is another profile. If we see these comments for this post, we see comment 1, comment 2. But for comments, we also have the ordering by the target, by the post they are targeting. This is another an extra. Comments have like global ordering by ordering by the user that is that the that comment is the has certain number for a specific user, like that comment may be the comment number 10 of that user, and that also those comment, this is comment 1 for this post and comment 2 for this specific post. So those kind of things are necessary. The different orderings for being made optimal auditings and producing the witnesses and doing all these checks that there are no gaps, etc. And I mean we can navigate in our stored queries. So we also have like a nicer way to understand like what's going on. And each query, if you see here, has a unique identifier that. So, for example, if I click again this profile, and the client identifies that query is the same to is duplicated, and the state for that response hasn't changed, like nothing of this has been updated, it immediately identifies that it is duplicated, and instead of storing a duplicated response, it identifies and takes you to that specific query. So you can like save memory on your browser, and also like you can like I don't know, I like also this idea that you can like navigate deterministically your browser, and it is not it is not jumping like you are scrolling and it jumps like to automatically, and you lose like you never find the post you wanted to see again, things like that. Like that, those kind of things are very frustrating for me when I'm using social media. And it's kind of a tactic manipulation. Like they design the most social media apps like slot machines, because that makes the apps more addictive. So So that's another differentiation. Like
Mhm.
this project, this is a user-centric project, not a corporate or propaganda
Mhm.
centric project. And so we can audit our queries whenever we want. We can trigger here an audit for this, and as you see, it takes almost the same time that it took in the old
Mhm.
client. But we now can like navigate almost as if this was a regular, like we don't need to wait for this to finish, and we can audit our responses whenever we want.
Mhm.
And so this is like I think it's a very good improvement. Like we needed also to decouple the all the logic for auditing and navigation to accomplish this. And yeah, we can now audit anything we want, whatever we want. And if you see, this was a lot quicker
Mhm.
because these are just two comments, and there aren't any reactions or reposts for these comments, so it's quicker to audit this kind of content. Like is lighter.
Mhm. So
uh,
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and
we are slightly over time, so if we could focus on,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I'm almost finished. I'm almost finished.
right, cool, cool. Yeah, I don't want to rush you, but yeah.
No, I know. I mean, I'm over time. Uh, but and for example, if we trigger an error for an audit here, yeah, this is so I artificially introduced a corrupted a post. So if we audit this, it should fail, and now we know that this failed. And right now, the only like the main thing is that users can know that if a server, if a node or whatever is following the rules of the platform. So it's kind of the punishment is reputational for whatever server or node is tricking the users, and users then can fork away into another platform or use another server another alternative that is maybe the exact same platform but is most honest and has less failures when people audit this. But also maybe we could introduce in the future some incentive, like if this fails, maybe I can submit this to a smart contract. Receive a reward that punishes that specific server or something like that.
Mhm.
But also, obviously, after using the app a lot, we will have a ton of queries, and that will be a lot of memory for our browser. So we also introduced the ability to unload all of this to a file. And so now we released our database and our memory for our browser, and then we can simply go to this that we just and upload it, and there's again all our queries and all our navigation. So we can share this, we can store our sessions, and maybe in the future at a specific time start auditing all our queries, or maybe outsource those sending those files to some specific validators that dedicate to validate those things. So this also allows portability, and it potentially can enable like more use cases and a smoother and uh, more friendly user interface, like a more fun user interface. Um, Obviously, this client is just still a prototype. first we're focusing on making it work. Then we will focus on make it faster and more beautiful and smooth. But for now, this works. This is an auditable feed, like a very small feed, obviously, because it's just a demo. But we can with this we can have a chronological feed, feed that is free from censorship and manipulation. So I think that this is very exciting, and there is a lot of work to do in the future. But I don't know. I'm very excited about this project.
Cool. I mean, thanks a lot, Charlie, for your presentation. I mean, I would like to just kind of take a very quick look at the chat. If there are any questions in the audience, please like come on stage or type them in the chat, and I can read them out to Charlie's. So Satyam asks, can you please share your GitHub repo if it is possible? So Charles, could you do that, please, and maybe reach out to Satyam, and we'll also post it on Twitter when we do a bit of a recap for it.
Do that. Sorry.
Your repository for the project.
Yeah, sure. I mean, in my Twitter, and I think also in my Discord, there is my repository. Is literally the same username for the GitHub than for Discord. And well, in X there was someone already had that from a lot of time ago. The account is dead. But
Fair enough. I mean, I had a question or maybe a recommendation as well, because right now the main optimization is to fetch the data and only query by demand and only audit by demand. Is it possible to fetch the data but lazily audit it anyway? Can maybe the user make this choice? If you know what I mean?
Do you mean like?
Yeah.
Like,
So let's say if you go to a query which is not audited right now.
a query that is not
Currently not audited, so it's
yeah, like this one.
yeah. So right now the user needs to click audit query
Yeah.
for this to be audited. But is it possible that the data is fetched and displayed first, but in the background a new thread starts the audit process without user asking to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we could set up the client for this to be made in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the idea in the future.
Okay. Sorry.
But yeah, no. I mean, yeah, it's totally it's logical, like the logical step to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, of course. Also, we can like pick another button that they audit all and triggers like all the audits or things like that. So yeah, it's totally possible.
All right, cool.
And we are thinking about doing that because yeah, it's the logical step.
Thanks. And I know we are like very over time, so I'll just put in like maybe one just last question. And this is not related to lazy auditing, but rather to the user's account, because right now everything is kind of like signed based on your public key, right? Public and private key pair. So what would happen if you wanted to change your key pair? Have you thought of something how to transfer this data from one account to the other? Or is it something which is probably not possible with this particular model?
Something like that could be done. Like, for example, Farcaster do something like you have, although it's not a specific that, but I mean, like you have like your main key pair, and you can like, if you don't want like to be signing things with that, like expose it to your hot device, for example. You can delegate like to a specific, like to a burner account for say something, and then that's the account that you load to your browser. Like a key pair it's another key pair that you delegate to, and you can use that key pair. And but then you can change it by signing with the principal key pair. That's like the most common model. That's also the GPG model, and the and yeah, that's kind of the an option that there is that we have like to improve security. Also, for example, Firecaster in the name of user experience, when you sign up, and then it doesn't tell you anything of that. But what happens is that for being able to post like without signing anything and things like that, you're basically letting Firecaster sign on your behalf all your posts. So it that kind of defeats the whole purpose, right? The same goes for Blue Sky. Like you aren't signing anything. So and you need to like specifically burn like the delegation address that is also a default recovery, like a recovery method that they set up for users, like kind of help users. But also all these kind of things, like if you don't research what's going on, at the end you basically have a web to app with crypto sprinkled on top. So then what's the point, right? It's kind of I don't know, self-defeating.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So I think that's I don't see any of the questions from the audience. So thank you all for joining, and thank you, Charlie, for your presentation.
Thanks, and sorry for taking more time again.
No problem. This is exciting stuff. Thank you so much for working on it. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Have a nice